Renowned Utah architect Ron Molen helped shape the landscape of mid-century modern architecture across Salt Lake City and beyond. After graduating from the University of Utah in 1958 and earning his architect's license in 1966, Molen began his career. Ron's signature style emphasized large, open gathering spaces paired with more intimate, private areas like conversation pits and lofts. He called this fusion open, free, and spontaneous space, reflecting his belief that a true family home should be a vibrant, creative, and inspiring environment for everyday living.
The contractor I worked for on my first major project was Vern Hardman of Research Homes. He was an amazing client who gave me total freedom. He really helped to start my career. I feel I owe him a lot. This first project, Westshire Neighborhood, is located in West Valley City on 2700 West and 3800 South near Valley Fair Mall. Hardman wanted to do something unique, and I thought I could do just that for him. At the time, most of the houses in Salt Lake were a repetitive design. The same design was used by the builder over and over with a predictable outcome. Builders usually had no design training. Hardman wanted something different, something new and exciting. This house was in that first project. You can see this was not a typical builder's design. It was the kind of thing you would expect to see from a custom design. This particular house featured an atrium, bringing a sense of nature inside. Hardman and I entered a competition for innovative uses of concrete products. We used a concrete tile on the sloping roof, and to our surprise, we won the national competition. The prize was a trip that Hardman and I could take anywhere in the world. We decided on Istanbul, Turkey, and then we worked our way back through Europe. This next house had a loft, which was used as a studio that looked out over the living room below. It created a very interesting space. Again, the sloping roof over the living room gave definite interest. In some of the more exclusive areas, we created this kind of classic unit, which we were able to repeat in some of our subdivisions also. Village 2 was my second major project with Research Homes, and it is located immediately south of that first project. Remember, this was 60 years ago. Condominiums had not been created yet. There was no legal framework for the concept, but we were designing a community with all the aspects of a condominium. We used the clock tower as a symbol of the community to give it a real sense of identity. This shows how the tower was located in the village. In the idea of village, it's very important that people belong to a community that has a strong sense of place. This is the main plaza for the community. The building facing us is the community center. The community center has a swimming pool and some office space. The surrounding units were apartments and shops. The brick paving is very important because we could put designs in the brick. The trees, the brick, the concrete steps all make for a strong sense of place. We felt the community needed symbols, and one of the other symbols we used here was this sculpture. Initially, it was kind of a joke, but now it's 60 years old, and evidently it's been accepted by the community. It was meant to stand in water, and the pool in front was a reflecting pool. The sculpture is called the Warriors. Sheraton Hotel. This is the Sheraton Hotel, and the thing that is very unique about the hotel is that it took up a whole city block. It was luxury for an architect to have such a large site. We decided on using arches as the main design element, and it seemed to work pretty well. This is the portico, and it's wide enough to accept 4 cars at the same time, or 2 tour buses. The builder thought it was expensive and decided to build all the arches on the ground instead of using scaffolding high in the air. The arches were built on the ground, then raised individually and placed several feet apart. When the last one was raised, the cable was not secured properly, and that first arch fell against the next one. The rest fell like dominoes. Bang, bang, bang. Nothing could be salvaged, and all those bricks were hauled off to the dump. This is the lobby, with easy access to the various amenities, the dining room, bar, and gift shop. The ceiling beams added interest. The stairway provided a dramatic possibility for weddings, the bride and her father descending the stairs and joining the wedding party below. We had a lot of space left for landscaping, which was unique for a downtown hotel. The brick paths, the sense of the garden, lent a nice touch. This shows the 8-story front of the hotel, with a nice view of the landscaped area. This shows the portion of the hotel that was 2 stories and enclosed the landscaped area. The sound of traffic was reduced considerably by the units themselves. So this is a green area, quiet, and a place to gather. This is the swimming pool. The building at the right rear was for a hot tub. Originally, the building had a huge hot tub and gathering place. The future owner felt that was a little too risque, so this smaller hot tub was added. Here you can see the majority of the units are in the 8-story tower, with just a few 2-story units. LDS Ward House. This is the LDS Ensign Ward House on Capitol Hill. Normally there is a tower included in the building. We argued for a freestanding tower and we lucked out. Park Lane. Park Lane is a facility for seniors located on 7th East and 1st South, both busy and noisy streets. Unlike the Sheraton, it did not have a large site. To create a space as quiet as possible, we moved the landscaping inside in a huge atrium, giving it a powerful sense of place. Originally, we used maple trees, but they grew too high and interfered with the glass ceiling, and so the maples were replaced with palm trees. From here, you can see it was a very large open area where people do not feel constrained. If you think about this, people are locked in their private space, and it can be boring and deadening with just long corridors. We felt we could solve that with the atrium. It would have different light at different times of the day. This is a balcony on one of the units that faces inward into the atrium and looking down on the dining area. Houses on Capitol Hill. I designed and moved my family into and out of 15 different homes over my career. I never made any money on any of those houses. The real estate market was very stable then and not as volatile as it is now. You would have to stay in a house more than 3 years to see any real appreciation in price. My mother-in-law said we moved when the carpets got dirty. This is a house on Capitol Hill I designed and lived in for 3 years. This is a house I lived in for a short time. It has a strange application of the mansard roof where I cut it up into a couple of pieces. This was a spec house that sold very quickly. Again, there's an emphasis on garden space. Another house I lived in on 5th Avenue. Unique in that I did an experiment with the evaporative cooler or swamp cooler. Instead of having the evaporative cooling system located outside the house, we had it inside. We used a stairwell that was opened up to the outside. It worked out very well. This house had a very steep driveway. At the top of the driveway originally was an apricot tree. When the apricots dropped, the house was almost inaccessible because of the slippery driveway. This is my home on 15th Avenue. The living room was open to the landscaping. It was really an outdoor room. Another house for my wife and me. The house had a wonderful entrance, and off the entrance was a studio my wife used for her painting. It was a separate little building with a sloping roof that you can see at the far right. This is a house built for my family, unique in the fact that we used the entire basement for a swimming pool. As a result, we had neighbor kids traipsing in and out, which made it a little less advantageous. You would think having a pool in the basement would create a humidity problem in the rest of the house, but it didn't. The pool was behind closed doors, and that was enough to prevent that from happening. For some of our houses, it was difficult to determine where the entrance was from the street. This was the exterior light that we used to mark those hard-to-see places. I was designing houses for creative and stimulating family living. It was meant to be fun. The house with the pool in the basement also had a fireman's pole in it. My kids could get on the pole up on the second floor and be down at the pool in seconds. I remember having a conversation with my wife, and when I turned around, she had disappeared down the pole to the utility room below. Conversation pits in the living room were another creative experiment. I did several hundred designs all over the valley. A number of clients became close friends. Many of those designs were for faculty members at the U. That was when faculty members could afford to buy housing close to the university.
I'm Don Walton.
And I'm Phil Davis. We collaborated on producing this video on some of Ron's career work. Our initial input for the video consisted of our riding around town with Ron and taking pictures of places he had designed.
Then, as we worked on this video, we discovered other projects Ron had done over the years. Projects he had not even mentioned. We uncovered these projects late in the production process, too late to include them in the detail they deserve. So we asked Ron to choose a few of the larger, more dramatic projects he had done. To wrap this show up, here's some of those more spectacular projects typical of the genius of this great architect.